Welcome to this video coverage for round 9 of the candidates tournament, and this is about the game of the shared tournament leader, former world champion Vichy Anand, playing Vasily Topalov from Bulgaria, who's on -1 score at the moment. Let's see how this game went down. Anand playing e4, and Topalov is going for the Najdorf. He's not trying to do anything out of his normal opening repertoire. He's been a Najdorf player for ages. Of course, they both know a great deal about it, as they have played it with both sides numerous times. Vichy's main opening against e4 is also the Najdorf, and double king pawn, of course. e4, e5. And what is Vichy playing here? Yes, the new main line. Welcome to the new main line of the Najdorf, h3. I've talked about it in other videos, and it's good to do something a little bit unexplored. Topalov plays e6, which is of course a very decent choice. Black claims that h3 is a pretty slow setup, and says, okay, I'm going to set my pieces up in a typical Scheveningen, Najdorf, or Scheveningen type of way. People enjoy my tries at Dutch pronunciation. Okay, well, g4, and black is retreating, voluntarily to d7. Bit strange looking, but it's not a bad move at all. This knight is simply avoiding this kick, and black will set up a perfectly normal position here. Knight c6, and now h4. White is advancing on the king side. What about the pawn on h4? If black takes it, white will gladly take this important central pawn in exchange for that. And this is a fantastic position for white. Black cannot take the pawn. He played knight d2, e5, and Vichy just pushed with g5, of course. White has gained space on the king side, and very much discouraged black from castling short, just like that. I think a move like castles in this position would really be quite dangerous for black, I mean. I guess white will probably play queen to e2, and then castle long, and then f4. It's not like white is winning, I'm not saying that, but I think that is certainly a position that white players in the Open Sicilian would very much like to play. All this is a bit slow on the queen side, but black, I mean, you haven't even gotten b5 in. Topalov is doing something else. He plays bishop d7 first and delays castling for a moment, which I think is a pretty good decision. He also could have thought about knight c4 here, after which white will probably retreat. This looks a bit weird at first, this retreat, but one possible idea even could be b3 and bishop b2 here. The queenside fianchetto is quite often a pretty good setup if white tends to castle long, as it also lends some protection to the king. Knight c4 was interesting, but not anything decisive in a way. He decided to play bishop d7, which is perfectly okay, I think. Okay, now Anand took on c6. Bishop takes. The bishop is nicely placed now. And b3. It was just designed, this exchange on c6, to now clarify matters. White wants to have control over c4 and later move the queen and castle long. In this position, if white tries to cover this square by the normal looking queen move, queen e2, there is b5, and knight c4 is really quite annoying here. Note that now b3 is really weakening. The queen is just wrongly placed here. Anand's move is stronger. He plays b3 immediately, and if now black tries to use this somewhat loose knight with queen a5, he can protect the knight with something like queen d2 and then go for long castling. Pretty normal position, I think. Yeah, in this position actually Topalov played a very interesting concept. Oh, sorry, I forgot a line. Queen a5, queen d2. There's actually the move d5, which I wanted to show. Intending bishop b4. This is quite good for black. I misread my notes. Yeah, this is a pretty cool idea. No? And now even this, black is in excellent shape. Yeah, if white retreats, this is more than excellent shape. Yeah, queen d2 is actually a bit of a mistake. You need to go here. Looks a bit passive, but white is immediately threatening knight d5, so the queen needs to move again, and then something like that is probably going to happen with the long castles to follow. A typically complicated Sicilian middle game, which was something that Topalov could have gone for. He had a different idea. He played the move f5, which is quite surprising to me. It looks a bit unconventional to do that, but yeah, it's maybe not. It is maybe not so bad, really. It's just it just feels a bit strange in my book to push f5. And if I read this correctly, Vichy was also a bit critical about the move, but I'm not so sure how it develops in the game if this is so terrible for black. Okay, I think what white is doing now is pretty straightforward. He played f4, kicking this knight, knight g4, and queen to e2, covering on e3 this bishop. Yeah, what black is trying to do with f5, this is pretty much an sort of a preemptive strike on the king side, so you don't get attacked so hard here. He wants to clarify the situation in the center, and here black even gets the bishops. But one problem is that this bishop on e7 is always limited by this pawn wedge, and how is black actually going to activate his pieces now? He took on e4, and white castled long. Yeah, I think now the next move is also quite okay. Played d5, and Anand recaptured on e4. Yeah, look at this position. It's a very interesting position from a strategical point of view. We have this pawn center for black, e6 and d5. This can arise also from another opening, and it's pretty clear what I'm talking about. It's from the French. The French defense, you sometimes get this type of structure, and there are various nuances for this structure. Quite often you have it with the white pawns not like this, but with this pawn back on g3. f4, g3, sometimes h4 played, sometimes it's back on h2. In this structure, white typically has quite a comfortable advantage, because he will always use his knight probably here on e5, and also bishop to h3 to pressurize e6. Well, this is very colorful. Yeah, well, these pawns are weak, quite clearly, and they can be attacked easily. Bishop to h3 is one of them to attack here, and the knight might also be regrouped, let's say, to d4. Attacking e6 can also, can also go to e5 possibly, or also to d3. In the French, as mentioned, the pawn is often on g3, so there is no counterplay on f4. This is the difference. In this position, black actually, if we look at this, played this check. which I'm not so sure of, to be honest. But what black needs to do, he needs to try to get enough counterplay here, I believe, against the d6, against the f4 pawn. This is black's only counterplay, really. He needs to try to balance or to find some kind of counterplay as compensation for white's play against the weak pawns. Bishop a3 is maybe not the most precise way to play. I actually looked at what was it? Castles, right? Castles. And if we now, I'm not 100% sure what white's most precise move order is, but let's say white is trying to regroup the knight to d3. Maybe not the most precise way to play. I'm not quite sure. Let's say here, attacking here. Note that if white takes,
check.
Here you don't really have a great option. f4 is hanging. If you cover it, there is this check.
Check.
Rook e8, and black gets very active. It's quite often if you take the weakness that you play against at the wrong moment, then you sometimes give away the whole initiative. Here black even has queen c3 coming with possible mate later. Let's not take here, play a good move, play knight d3 to cover the f4 weakness. You still have the pressure on e6. Yeah, now rook e8, let's say, king b1, bishop d6. Something like that could be a setup that black can actually play, trying to get enough counterplay here and operating with small tactical tricks to actually let e6 be unprotected for a couple of moves. Maybe black in with some line like that can still get a playable position. Knight f2, what I played here in my sample line, is probably not even a very precise move, as you don't really need to move it at the moment, and it's not clear yet if this is right, this is correctly timed at the moment. There are other possible moves, of course. You can consider that, for example. Queen a5 maybe. Now attacking the knight and attacking here. Okay, what if I go king b1 first? Maybe this one. Yeah, it's tricky. I mean, I think that this is a better defense than what Topalov did. He gave this check, which forces a move, king b1, that white wants to play anyway. And after queen e7, knight f2, I played bishop c5 here. Here, black also could go for this type of setup that I showed before with the attack on f4. He's only a couple of moves down, but yeah, maybe still this was an alternative. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, and now it's already tricky to defend this, right? Maybe here. Yeah, it's not much fun to play. Yeah, I'm pretty sure also that Topalov really hated the position. He's simply not the guy to defend in any way passively. He wants to always play active moves, which is in the very vast majority of cases the right strategy. Active defense is almost always the right one. But yeah, here it is tough to defend. He played bishop c5 and just took on f2, which in a way looks somewhat obliging to clarify the situation like that. But on the other hand, black was banking on the fact that he gets a quick play against f4. But look at this, queen d4 and rook e1. It's all on e6. Rook f8, rook f1, queen to d6, and now rook e5. White maintains a perfect control here. Black still has the weak pawns, the bad bishop, and the possible disadvantage in space, or this is a wrong phrase. Black has a disadvantage in space on the king side, and this might even be a tricky factor in terms of the king. long term. White has an excellent control here, and Topalov tried to defend
Check.
with exchanges. Very understandable, really. As in this position, also the pawn on e6 is not so exposed anymore to an attack by the rook. Still, of course, white is always better in this position. It's just a matter of how big the advantage really is. Is it just clearly better? Is white able to actually get to a winning position? Is it just slightly better? Yeah, it's probably a clear advantage for white, but it's still not so easy to kill off. A4 is typically a good move, possibly intending a5 to fix more pawns on light squares. Bishop e8 was played, and here Anand played king b2. In this position, he probably had a better move with queen a7, intending just bishop takes a6, and this is in fact not so easy to combat. One possible reply is bishop takes a4. Quite funny, because the capture
Check.
leads to perpetual check.
Check.
But white can simply take here, and after that claim that this has helped him. I'm not so sure if this is really the case. White is just very, very better here, but he also had a great position in the game, and it's not really clear to me that this was in any way better. Yeah, black could activate this bishop, but it's still long term. Oh, sorry, I played this too quickly. It's still long term very tricky for black to play. The pawns are on light squares, as mentioned, and it will be very tough to play the position. If you just for one moment consider what happens if we have a queen trade here. If we would take off queens in this position, white would have a very simple plan to invade with the king. This is actually very tough to defend against. White, of course, needs to cover c2 before he does that, but this is just one possible problem with black's position: the invasion of the king after queen trade, and sometimes this can be initiated by white entering black's position, like a5, queen b6, b4, queen to c5. Yeah, it's really a grind where black has to suffer. And as mentioned, Topalov is not the kind of person to suffer passively in a position, and sometimes he tries to defend actively where it is simply not working. And here we got one of those cases. He plays h6, and this is probably the move that definitely loses the game. After that, he probably is beyond saving. White takes, and queen g4. This is a very, very serious problem now. Hangs. Okay, there's just one move to cover both, and now white can push h5. Yeah, bishop moves, and a5. And this now is too much to defend. This is a terrible weakness on h6. e6 is obviously still a point of attack, and with a5 white has also fixed these pawns on light squares. It's now probably a lost position. If you give it to an engine, it's already on +2, just to make clear that this is not something little that white has here. And Wishy does a very good job here. Bishop h7, and now keep it simple: c3 and c4 when the bishop is on e4, so black cannot take. Yeah, he's simply gaining space here. Black is always tied to the defense of the e6 pawn. If you try that, you have just put yourself in a very awkward pin on the king. Yeah. Sorry, this is actually what was played. sorry, he actually played that. Yeah, I understand. I mean, what else is there? If you, yeah, you cannot really move anything great here. Yeah, queen move. Okay, I'm going to check you. And enter on f6. Yeah, and if you retreat here,
check.
We'll drop the pawn. Yeah, it's just a disaster of a position. Queen f4. Yeah, and now
check.
He took on f5 with check.
Check. Check.
All this falls with check. But it's completely forced. What should black do? If you go here,
check.
I actually manage a queen trade, and well, this you don't survive.
Check.
And white is winning very easily. Yeah, you need to go to e8.
Check.
Again this check,
check.
And again with check. So a very, very tough turn of events for Topalov. I mean, turn of events is a bit much. He was worse anyway, but it very quickly went downhill. Yeah, queen here, king to g7, queen to d5. A very dominating position of white's queen. It covers the pawns and attacks the weakness. And in fact, white's king, which is the only cause for concern in terms of a perpetual check happening, is relatively safe.
Check.
Yeah, white uses the king here.
Check.
Yeah, activate it as much as possible, and actually the king is an attacking piece now, supporting the attack together with the queen. If black now takes here,
check. Check.
We have this simple
check
way to win. Yeah, I went to c7, and now queen here. This is again very simple if black takes.
Check.
Yeah, black does not have many moves. Queen d6 is threatening anyway.
Check.
Yeah, possibly even going to b6.
Check.
Yeah, and now there's the queen trade threatened, and also those discoveries by the king.
Check.
Yeah, black really has to suffer here.
Check.
And after e6, Topalov resigned. There is just nothing left. Yeah.
Check. Check.
There is a counter check. And, well, where do you go? If you go somewhere on the 7th, I
check.
can just do this.
Check.
And win with the queen side. So a very, very smooth victory by Anand. Again, a game in which he didn't really make any serious mistake or any mistake at all. Topalov somehow stumbled into this this structure, which he somewhat himself initiated with this f5 push. And this, I think, is already very tricky to play. Maybe there was some better setup. I don't really think that black should be lost here or anything. But in the practical game that they played, he simply couldn't find a defensive setup that really keeps the position together. I believe that it starts here. This check is maybe not the best way to go. But my intuition tells me that white would have also had a very good game if he does something else. It's just very awkward to have those weak pawns here. Yeah, to sum it up for the tournament, another win for Anand. He's on +3 and has excellent chances to win this tournament. I mean, this is really a sensational tournament for him. If you look at recent years, even ever since, yeah, even before the World Championship match in 2012 against Gelfand, even before that, he really has played sometimes very uninspired chess, which really was sometimes a pain to watch if you know what he's capable of. And here he's really playing in an excellent fashion. I mean, one difference is, and this is certainly true, that in lots of those games where his play looked very uninspired, he also got simply very uninspiring positions right out of the opening. Those terribly boring positions at times, especially with black. And here he gets something that he can play with, just more complicated positions. And if he's yeah, it seems that he is in good shape and is very sharp in his calculation. And yeah, then he can still do great things. I mean, we are looking at a player who was playing fantastically just a few years ago. So why shouldn't he be able to do that at least in this tournament? I mean, it's not like he has unlearned chess in a period of a couple of months. So really great performance by Anand, and with this score he has very good chances to qualify. Of course, a very crucial game will be the match against the game against Kramnik, where we'll have the when he will have the black pieces. And yeah, very crucial game. I think actually if he survives that, he will probably do the job and qualify. Yeah, still one word on Topalov. He's on -2 now, and it's really out of it. I mean, a great optimist could have thought, okay, if he wins this game, maybe. Yeah, but it didn't happen. He simply does not seem to be in a great shape here, and with -2, he will finish probably on the bottom half of the table, even at the end of the tournament. All right, thanks for watching.